Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on the air here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 young people. Dell's son Shane, very handsome young man. He's not old enough for dating, sorry. And now his sister Cheyenne. Shane's 13, Cheyenne's 11. And Yusufer, he just turned 19, so he's available. Now, April. Like April, May, June. Her name's April Lynn.
14.
You're 14? She wanted you to know she's 14. I don't. Are you on Cherry Blossom yet? You're kind of little. I think you have to be 18. Okay. So this is Jody Lynn.
Yes.
She's not married. You can see how beautiful she is. Okay. This is Leoti's niece. My wife's standing there, but she won't come on the camera. She's so beautiful. Ah, she never believes me. Okay. Okay. I want to talk a little more about the baby in Revelation.
Why don't we do the 7 levels? You know.
Yeah.
What's level 1?
I want to finish this up because I started to do it. It only takes me a short time. I had a dream in Nairobi, India. I wrote Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa. The last day I was there, it was April 9th. I take that back. It was May 9th. I was there April 22nd, May 10th, and we came back. It was the next day, 10th. But anyway, I wrote it out. I'm not going to read it here. Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit later. But in this dream, the Lord showed me the baby that was supposed to be born in the United States, the baby of Revelation 12. And I didn't understand that. And that's when I was telling you this morning, I wanted to stay in the United States and do evangelism, go to the churches. And the Shekinah says, no, your work here is finished. I said that several times. And what happened was that I was very sad. And I kept arguing, saying, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to talk to this person. No, Michael, it's finished. Your work here in the United States is finished. And Leotie is with me, and she was, willing to try to get a job at Walmart or somewhere, make some money. And I didn't want to leave. I lived there in that house 15 years. And she kind of kept saying no. So we asked for a sign. Okay, Lord, if you want us to move, we got to sell this house, need the money, and so forth. So we asked for a sign. The very next day, here's a knock on my door. Real estate lady with a man from Canby, Oregon. We want to look at your house. Walks around. The man says, I like your house, Mr. Clute. I want to buy your house. And he did. Long story short. Only guy that made an offer, full price, paid the closing cost. The sign was fulfilled. I'm going to tell you, I told Dell this morning, tell everybody, do not ask for a sign from God unless you're really serious, because if you say, Lord, I will do this if you give me a sign, He will fulfill it because He needs workers. And if you do not fulfill your part of the bargain, you're in big trouble because you will not hear the voice of the Lord anymore. That's very serious. Okay. So we moved here. We had 60 days to move out, perform so many miracles. The devil tried to kill me 3 times with 3 accidents. 1, 2, 3. The first 2, I got insurance money. The last one, didn't get any insurance money. And that was one, it was a miracle we didn't get killed. Because the guy coming down 99 broadside, this was a shocking thing. But the devil was trying to stop me from moving here to the Philippines. Okay, so here we are now. And she kind of said, the baby was supposed to be born in the United States, but the message had been rejected. For the elect 144,000 will have to be born in Philippines and the United States. I mean Africa. Philippines and Africa. Okay, talking so fast here. Okay, now 7 levels. Let's go to the 7 levels. That's when a young man, his name was Collins, very brilliant, intelligent young man, most probably intelligent guy that ever wrote to me, about 31, 32. He was a Hindu, he became a Christian, kept the Sabbath and all that. He said, I have been reading your website, God's Last Call Ministries, God's Last Call Ministries.org, and like the 7 levels. I've been printing it out, and I want to have a seminar. You come down here to Kenya and hold this seminar. And I told you how that happened. So we did go. We asked for a sign for that too. Lord, if you want us to go to Africa after 25, 30 years of asking me to go. I said, no, 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 I'm not going to go. I don't want to get kidnapped. I don't want to get yellow fever or malaria. So I had these excuses. But I had invitations from all over Africa. Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya. You go, you just name them all. Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. And I had letters from, I think, every country over a period of 25, 30 years. So I would ask them, send them a little, you know, pamphlet or book, some cassette tapes, whatever. And I thought, I've done my duty. I don't need to go to Africa, even though they're inviting me. I don't want to go down. Don't want to get kidnapped or get malaria. Okay, so now this guy's writing to me, and the Lord said, I want you to go to Africa. And I said, oh Lord, anything but that, please. I don't want to go to Africa. So once again, it kept writing to me and saying, we want you to come down here and hold this seminar. I said to Leody, okay, we'll ask God for a sign. Lord, if you want us to go to Africa, we ask for a sign. I thought I was safe, you know. This is neat. You have to get a pretty big sign because it's going to cost some money. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Money with God is not a problem. He owns the whole world. He owns all the banks. I got news for you banksters. You don't own that money. The God of heaven, He is over all. And if He wants someone to do something and they need some money, it's going to happen.
So how soon did you recognize fulfillment of your sign?
Next day, ring, ring, ring. Hello. Yes. Oh, how you doing, Tim? Why are you calling me? Like, he never calls me from Colorado. I've known him for 10 years. Writes me emails. I call him once in a while when I need a donation because he's a generous guy. But anyway, here he's calling me and he says, Mike, yeah, Tim, how you doing? Well, the question is, how are you doing, Mike? What's happening? Oh, the latest? Yeah. Well, they want me to go to Africa. Africa? Yeah, I'm not going to go there. They've been asking me a long time. I'm not going to go. Mike, if they want you to go down there, why? Hold a seminar. Pastor Mike, if they want you to go hold a seminar, you have to go. And I thought, oh no, I could see it clear. This is the fulfillment of the sign. No, Tim, don't go there, please. And he said, Mike, how much will it cost for you to go to Africa, to fly down there? I took a deep breath. Relax. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care. I don't want to go. Okay. He said, well, find out and call me back. So I did. $2,800, almost $3,000. So I called him and I said, Tim, I said, you know how much this costs to go down there for Leody and I to fly? $2,800, $1,400 for each of us. He said, Mike, give me a week. And I just told Leody, you know, this is it. We asked God for a sign, He's fulfilling it. I don't know what to do. I can't renege on this. Okay. So he sent, and 1 week later, here comes in the mail, a check for $3,000. So what could I do? I got the money. I call up the airlines. I get a ticket. Go through Amsterdam down to Nairobi. And the pastors drive 7 hours from where they live, pick me up, drive me back. And Colin's on the phone. Pastor Mike, they're coming to the seminar. They made up a brochure. They got 100 people there waiting for you. And then 5 minutes left. No, it's 131 pastors waiting for you. Oh my lands.
So how many days were you preaching there?
I was there for 3 weeks, 21 days. I preached twice a day, 34 sermons in 17 days. But that's not the end of the story. Because these young pastors, there were several of them, but the two, they're both named Vincent. And I had these two guys named Vincent writing to me, and I thought they were the same guy, but they were two different people. And so finally I found out, and I called them Vincent number 1 and Vincent number 2. I finally found out it was Vincent Makudo and Vincent Onkaba. And Vincent Makubo had been writing to me for 6 years, and once in a while I would send him a package or something, a little donation, because he would beg me, say, "Oh, Pastor Mike, we haven't heard from you for 6 months. Are you still there?" "Yeah, I'm still here. What do you need?" "Oh, well, pray about it. Maybe you could help us. We need some literature. We need donations." "Okay, here's a check for, you know, send them a little money, 50 or 100 bucks or something." Okay. So then he wrote and he says, "Oh, I have a big surprise for you. My beautiful wife has had another baby, and this time we have given it a special name. The name of the baby is Michael Clute." Name of the baby. I said, "What is happening, Lord?" So we stayed down there. We didn't get malaria. We didn't get kidnapped. There was one guy grabbed me trying to get my money, what little I had, but he was attempting to kidnap me, yeah. But my bodyguards pushed him away.
Wow, that's a bad
But the pastors that were there that had been writing to me, Vincent number 1 and Vincent number 2, they lived in the same area, but they didn't know each other. And the other guy, Collins, and I said, "There's other pastors that are writing to me, and they're close to you." So they all got together. They were within a radius of 5 miles of each other, but they didn't even know each other. So the father brought them together for that seminar. So now I came back, and there's another guy named Obadiah. Just 2 months ago, Obadiah, he's a youth leader, a 400-member church. And so Vincent number 1, they had the baby named after me, he goes down and visits his cousin. And he goes down there, and Obadiah says, "Oh, what's the latest?" He says, "Well, here's a book, Into the Father's Heart." And Obadiah, he's a tall guy, very intelligent, 31, he's not married. He says, "Oh, I want to read this book." So he reads it to him. "Oh, the 7 levels. Oh, this is so beautiful. Wonderful. You have to come down here, cousin. Vincent, you have to come down here. We have 22 churches that want people to come and hold meetings. They've been begging me." So Vincent writes to me and says, "Pastor Mike, we have 22, they're Reformed Seventh-day Adventists," is what they said. They want meetings. They want meetings. They want the book, and they want to know about the character of God, the 7 levels. "But we need some money." I said, "Oh boy." So I asked some people. They sent me donations. I've been sending them about $400 a month, and they're out there making copies of my book and papers. And, oh, it's just going crazy in Africa. So I have a story to tell about the Civil War that the Lord brought to my mind, and this is happening in Africa. You know, Africa is the black continent. Now, I don't know if you've ever known black people in the South. They had slavery down there. They had slavery all over the world, but in the United States, they put these black people in slaves. They made them slaves, men and women both. It's a terrible blot on the history of the United States. But finally, Abraham Lincoln became president. Do I have time to tell this story? It's about Africa. It correlates. Did anybody have any question or comments on what I've said so far? Okay. Let me tell you, this is a metaphor, an example of what is happening in Africa that happened during the Civil War. The Civil War was between the South and the North. And the reason why the Civil War started is because cotton was king in the South. That's how they made their money. And when the cotton gin was created, they needed more workers to go out and get the cotton and pick it and put it in, you know, to process it and make clothes. And so they were making lots of money and shipping it all over the world. So some of the people in the South felt guilty about having slaves. There was 4 million black people that were slaves. And so there were books written like Uncle Tom's Cabin, by Harriet Beecher Stowe, S-T-O-W-E. She wrote a book, and this was a very famous novel, and it stirred up the people of the North, and they said, slavery is wrong. They're beating them, raping them, and treating them very badly. Actually, only 25% of the population owned slaves. So these were the rich guys. The rest of the people, they didn't care. They didn't like black people. They saw the black people are black because God put a curse on them from, Ham, one of Noah's sons, because of his sin, and they had a theology to support and to justify slavery. Okay, so anyway, the Civil War started, and it was a bloody, bloody war. The North against the South. And it went on like that till 1864. And Abraham Lincoln, you can see pictures of this man. When he was first president in 1860, he was still looking young and nice. He was only about 50 years of age or so. And just in that short time, he aged. His hair, and he just such burden. He saw all these young people being killed. Finally, there was a general. His name was Sherman. General Sherman. William Tecumseh Sherman, named after a famous Indian fighter. And he was a graduate of West Point. He was a general in the Army, and his friend was the other general, Ulysses S. Grant. So Sherman was quite a brilliant guy. He was good playing chess. And he just thought, we have to end this war. There's too many people getting killed. And for what? And so he says, I have a plan. I'm going to start from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to take 60,000 troops, divide them into two groups, 30,000, 30,000. We're going to march from Atlanta, Georgia to Savannah, the coast. And it took them about 6 weeks. And they went through the very heartland of the South, Georgia. And they lived off the land. And you know what happened? It brought the war to the civilian population. They went through and they burned the barns, they burned the houses, they killed all the livestock. They eat chickens, pigs, cows, goats, whatever they had there. They would forage off the land and just took everything. And the people were destitute. When that army went through there, that finished the heart of the South. And it brought the war to the civilian population. So the population said, we don't want war anymore. Before that, they didn't care because it hadn't affected them. And they didn't care about the slaves. They didn't even know what the issue was about, really. But the Lord spoke to me and said, study that story of Sherman's March to the Sea, because this is what we're going to do with Satan's kingdom in Africa. We're going to march through Africa. We are going to destroy the lies, L-I-E-S, destroy the lies that Satan has told about the Heavenly Father, that he hurts and kills people. We're going to destroy it with the light of the character of God, the 7 levels. And that's exactly what's happening in Africa right now. And it started in Kenya. Now there's some big Adventist churches down there, and there was one girl, she actually was a con artist, turned out very sad, but she set me up to preach 3 times. Big Adventist churches. So I went over there and spoke in these churches 3 times. And they told me, they said, Pastor Mike, we're so glad you came. You're the first white man that has ever come to our church. That was shocking. We're 7 hours from Nairobi, and I'm the first white guy that ever came to your church. Why? Because the white man in America, they don't care. These people are poor. They don't care. There's nothing out there in the middle of nowhere. They're ghetto poor. But the Lord goes to the poor people. Why? Because they're hungry. They're hungry for the Word of God. And I had a whole bunch of papers in a box. And I got done with one of my sermons. I had this, written by another preacher. I had a whole bunch of papers in a box, and I was going to pass them out. And after I got done preaching, they came up,